Hi, everyone. This is your book talk for this month, and excited to tell you about a few books in our library that might get you thinking about something new to read. The first book I'm sharing today is Killing Mr. Griffin by Lois Duncan. What if you had a teacher that was so incredibly mean, so incredibly unfair, that you went to drastic measures to try to teach him a lesson? That's what happens with these students in this book. They go so far with this teacher. Mr. Griffin is their English teacher and is a teacher who is so cruel that the kids in the book decide they are absolutely fed up. They decide to take Mr. Griffin out to this cabin in the woods. They're going to pull this prank on him, basically try to scare him into treating everybody kindly because he is so awful to his students and just is really unfair. And they only meant to scare him, but unfortunately, something terrible happens when he's out there. They accidentally kill him when he's there. And when they do so, they realize, unfortunately, that because now he's dead, even though they didn't mean to do it, someone else has found out that that's the case, and they are going to try and prove that that's what happened. What if that happened to you? What if you accidentally killed someone and didn't mean to do so, and you've got to make sure that other people don't blame it on you? That's the story of this book. What if someone found out and you had to try to prove that you were innocent? Killing Mr. Griffin by Lois Duncan, a fabulous mystery story. You're not going to be able to put this one down. The Compound by S.A. Bodine in science fiction is an imaginative story trying to picture what it would be like to have to live underground. Let's take a look at a trailer.
Eli and his family have lived in the compound for 6 years. The world they knew is gone. Eli's father built the compound to keep them safe. Now, they can't get out. He won't let them. The Compound by S.A. Bodine. Available wherever books are sold.
So this is the first book in a series that we have in our library. And Eli, at first, had to just get used to the idea of being underground. And now they've been there for 6 years because the world around them, the world above them, was completely destroyed. They've become accustomed to their new life, having to just stay put. And he and his sisters, his dad, his mom, they're doing the same thing day after day after day because they're in this underground environment. Well, as problems with this existence continue to kind of get threatened, Eli can't help but wonder if he would rather take his chances outside. Things underground, underneath, don't seem so great anymore, and it doesn't seem like this is maybe the safest place for him to be. He's wondering if they are safe underground or if they're going to continue to be, or if it would be better for them to venture outdoors. This is that book, The Compound. And if you've ever wondered what it would be like to be in sort of that end of the world situation, take a look at this sci-fi thriller by Bodine. Don't You Dare Read This, Mrs. Dunphy by Margaret Peterson Haddix in realistic fiction is a nice, quick read, imagining what it's like to hold on to a secret and hope that no one finds out. Our main character's name is Tish, and she's been told in her English class that she has to write in a journal every day. And Tish is a kid who, at first, even though her teacher has said that she's not going to read anything the students write in the journal, she's just basically marking it to see that they've written in it every day, Tish doesn't believe that. She believes Mrs. Dunphy's going to read it, and so Tish is writing all these really kind of crazy things in there to sort of check and see if Mrs. Dunphy is telling the truth or not. Well, Tish writes this really outlandish stuff. She writes kind of crazy things in there, and Mrs. Dunphy isn't responding to it. So Tish begins to let down her guard seems to believe that Mrs. Dunphy is actually not reading the pages and is just checking to see that they're writing. And this is a good thing because Tish is holding on to some really tough stuff. She has a really hard life at home that nobody knows about. Not Tish's best friend, not Tish's teachers. No one knows that Tish has some really bad stuff going on in her life. And Tish begins to write about it in her journal at school. But you, as the reader, are finding out what is happening because you're reading this journal along with her, and you are just begging Mrs. Dunphy to please read the journal and help Tish because she needs help and she needs it right away. Don't You Dare Read This, Mrs. Dunphy by Margaret Peterson Haddix. Is Mrs. Dunphy going to read this journal and help Tish? You've got to read the book to find out. Tangerine by Edward Bluer is in the sports section because, as you can see, this is about soccer, but it also is so much more than that. This book is suspenseful, it has mystery, it's got humor. It's about a kid named Paul who wears glasses that are so thick. He's basically legally blind without the glasses on. He isn't, though, so blind that he can't see there are some really unusual things going on in his new hometown. He lives in Tangerine County, Florida, and all kinds of strange things are going on here. There are sinkholes, like the picture you see there, that are swallowing up areas of the town. It swallows up, in fact, his new school, so it has to be reconstructed while he attends a new school for a while. There are lightning strikes that happen at the same time every day. I mean, this is just sort of weird, unusual stuff. And poor Paul has this football star brother. Eric is just like the top athlete, but he's also super mean to Paul. He teases him, he bullies him, and Paul is done. He has taken it for years. And Paul has decided he is over it. Paul's joined the soccer team. He's had some success with that. He's making some new friends on this team. And Paul is also beginning to find out that there are some secrets lying within his family that he is beginning to figure out. And he believes that Eric is part of those secrets. You've got to read this book to figure out, first of all, how Paul's going to begin to stand up for himself, how Paul's soccer success is a huge part of the story and the friendships that he builds, as well as what are those family secrets that have stayed hidden for so long, and how Paul is going to bring those to light. I really enjoyed this book. There's just something in it for everyone, and it's a little bit longer read, but definitely a great, great story, one that I think you'll enjoy too. Tangerine, look it up in the sports section by Bluer. Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo is one of our newer books to the library this year. This one's written in free verse style, so it is lots of white space on the page. It is about two girls and their two stories happening in two different areas of the country. Camino lives for the summers, I'm sorry, not even in the country, two different parts of the world is what I meant to say. Her dad visits her in the Dominican Republic in the summertime. Throughout the year, her dad works in the United States, and it's just in the summer that she gets to see her dad. The summer has finally come. The day his plane is supposed to land, Camino comes to the airport and sees crowds of crying people. Her dad's plane has crashed. In New York, Yahira, our other main character, is called to the principal's office where her mom is waiting to tell her that her father has died in a plane crash. You learn how the two girls in their stories are connected to one another and how their lives are forever altered. And this story brings their two stories together, and you'll love, I think, reading this book about these two girls. Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. Take a look for this book in our realistic fiction section. Last but not least, another book with some mystery. I must have been in the mood for mysteries today. The London Eye Mystery by Siobhan Dowd. Imagine getting onto the London Eye, which is basically a giant Ferris wheel. actually watching your cousin get on, I should say, getting on this ride. And it takes about a half an hour for the ride because it is so huge. You watch them get on. This happens with Ted and Kat. They watch their cousin Salim get on the ride. They wave, and they watch him get on, and they watch the whole ride. They watch all of the little cars go around. And then when everybody disembarks or everyone gets off of that ride, Salim is not one of the people to exit. How is this possible? He gets on the ride, but never comes off. Well, Ted and his older sister Kat have to find out what exactly happened. The police seem to have no luck. They can't find where Salim has gone, but how is it possible that Salim got on that ride and never got off? That's the story of this fantastic mystery set in London, England. The London Eye Mystery by Siobhan Dowd. You will not know where the story is going to go. I hope that one of the books I shared today is one that you might want to put on hold using your iPad or checking out down here in the library. If I can help you find anything else that you're in the mood to read, please stop down. We'd love to help you find something terrific to read. Thanks so much for your attention. Happy reading.